What's happening, everybody? It's Sean with Reactions to the Classics, and today, for the first time on the channel, somehow it's been this long, we got Styx in a reaction to their seminal album, The Grand Illusion, brought to us by a friend, longtime supporter, and patron of the channel, Trucker Kev. Thank you, Trucker Kev. I always appreciate everything you bring. Kev says, this is a fabulous album. Lots of FM rock hits, favorites played that many don't know because they probably don't listen to FM radio anymore. Not in the world of streaming, unfortunately. The only one most people know is the full proggy version of the classic Come Sail Away. But it is nothing but good, great 70s hard rock with some prog elements to it. From the beginning of The Grand Illusion to what many were doing back in the day, the classic reprise, they were firing on all cylinders everywhere. Tommy Shaw was his second album with the band, contributed so much along with Dennis and all the rest. Yes, this is the real Styx when they were everywhere and their concerts sold out all over. I found it was their seventh studio album released in July of '77, recorded at Paragon Recording Studios in Chicago. Sold over 3 million copies in the US. The album launched the band to stardom and spawned the hit singles Come Sail Away and Fooling Yourself. The title track also received substantial FM airplay, though it was never released as a single. As with much of Styx's catalog, many of the songs have quasi-medieval/fantasy lyrics and themes. Some are allegories and commentaries on contemporary American life and the members' experiences in an American rock band in the mid to late 70s, such as Castle Wall's Superstars, Miss America, and the title track, which touches on the grand illusion of fame and fortune and how they're not what they appear. So I'm going to have the lyrics up. As always, just a reminder, the music will not be in this video, but click on the Vimeo link below and you can listen along with me. I've never heard this album. My little claim to Styx is in 1981, Paradise Theater was one of the first 3 albums I ever purchased back in the day on vinyl. Let's kick this thing off with the title track, The Grand Illusion. Doesn't really have anything on this. It was written by Dennis DeYoung, and he does the lead vocals on this one. What a great opening track, right? I mean, the lyricism's fantastic on here. The instrumentation, the guitar work, and I should have covered the Styx guys to start with, man. And it's a little different on some songs, and I have musician credits on some of these songs, but not on all of them. But, you got Dennis DeYoung, the quote lead vocals, although he doesn't have lead vocals on all of these songs. And he has the keyboards, James J.Y. Young, vocals, electric guitars, Tommy Shaw, vocals, electric, and acoustic guitars, Chuck Panizzo, I hope I'm saying his name right, bass guitar, and John Panizzo, drums and percussion. So the drumming was nice in there. Not like a marching band, but almost like a marching band build up on parts of it. The guitars were great. But the content is great, right? It's the grand illusion telling you that, and that's 1977. I'm filming this in 2022, and this has never been more true. There's more people that want to be famous for nothing than I've ever seen in my life. And I don't know why you want to be famous. And Dennis is kind of asking that question way back then. Like, it's not what it appears. We're all the same. And that person who looks like they have the perfect life he talks about, they really don't. I mean, Dennis was foreshadowing and prophesizing social media before we ever had it, but that was the grand illusion. Don't be fooled by the radio, the TV, the magazines that show you photographs of how your life should be, but they're just someone else's fantasy. Just remember, it's a grand illusion because deep inside, we're all the same. We're all the same. What a banger to start this album out with. We're up to the second track, Fooling Yourself, in parentheses, The Angry Young Man, written by Tommy Shaw, sung by Tommy Shaw. Second single, 29 in the US, 20 in Canada. Is originally written based on Tommy's initial perception of Dennis DeYoung as an angry young man who viewed the group's successes with a wary eye and grew angry or depressed with every setback. It was only in later years that Shaw began to see himself in the lyrics, and the song took on a more personal meaning to him. So you're going to have Tommy on lead vocals and acoustic here, JY's on electric rhythm and backing, Dennis is on keyboards and backing, and of course Chuck on bass and John on drums. Let's check it out. Fooling Yourself, The Angry Young Man. Those long fade outs we had back in the 70s. So we have about a minute and a half roughly build in. I mean, the instrumentation on here, very proggy to me, really good. The keyboard from Dennis is banging, some good bass work on here, the guitar work obviously. What I'm wondering is, as the song starts out, there's a little intro where Dennis says real quietly, relax, take it easy. Like, did Dennis have any clue this song was about him? I'm guessing he probably didn't at the time. But Tommy comes in hard. You see the world through your cynical eyes. You're a troubled young man, I can tell. You've got it all in the palm of your hand, but your hand's wet with sweat and your head needs a rest. And you're fooling yourself if you don't believe it. You're kidding yourself if you don't believe it. And then verse 2, why must you be such an angry young man when your future looks quite bright to me? And how can there be such a sinister plan that could hide such a lamb, such a caring young man? And we just get into the chorus kind of as we go out and let the instrumentation build. But Yeah, I imagine it would probably wear you out, right? If you're around somebody night and day who thought things were just going to go bad and were cynical when everything was going so well. And I guess if you're a songwriter like Tommy, the best way to do that is to your outlet is just to write the song and sing it. I mean, Tommy also had a little super group with the damn Yankees that I remember back in the 80s with a great sound. Now we're up to the song Superstars, written by Young, DeYoung, and Shaw, sung by Shaw and DeYoung. DeYoung does the spoken part, it says. Superstars, some similarity, right, in content to the title track to The Grand Illusion, talking about being superstars. Some great harmonizing vocally there. You and I will climb so high, we'll be superstars. See, you've read about me in the papers. You've seen me on the movie screen. You know everything there is to know about me. I'm your late night fantasy. But don't think I can't hear you calling from the shadow of the 14th row. Because I've had the same dreams you've had just a few short years ago. And that's why I know you and I will climb so high, we'll be superstars. Will become our fantasy. And then he says later on, step right this way, everyone's welcome. So he's doing Dennis was doing almost a little carnival barker here thing. You know, we want your dreams. The offer's simple. Momentary immortality, my love, because I've seen them all, you know. I've seen them climb and I've seen them fall. I've seen them come and I've seen them go. And through it all, there's only one thing that matters, love. So you could definitely tell at this point, they're becoming, I don't know if I want to say disillusioned with the fame, but they see it for what it is. I think that happens in life, right? We think we want this one thing, whatever it is, like a job, money, power, a girlfriend, wife, boyfriend, husband, whatever, and you get it and you realize that doesn't really leave me fulfilled. I didn't really want that as much as I thought. So I think that's kind of just saying that here, and just a really nice song. Well, we come to the song that everybody knows pretty much, the only song here I knew. Come Sail Away. Dennis DeYoung wrote it and sang it. Number 8 in the U.S., 9 in Canada. Kind of surprised me it wasn't a bigger hit than that, and helped this album achieve the multi-platinum sales that it had. It's one of the biggest hits of Styx's career. Lyrically, the song uses sailing as a metaphor to achieve one's dreams. The lyrics touch on nostalgia of childhood friends, escapism, and a religious thematic symbolized by a gathering of angels singing a song of hope. The ending lyrics explain a transformation from a sailing ship into a starship by narrating that, quote, they climbed aboard their starship and headed for the skies. Dennis revealed he was depressed when he wrote the track after Styx's first 2 A&M offerings, Equinox and Crystal Ball, sold fewer units than expected after the success of the single Lady, which probably was part of why Tommy wrote Fooling Yourself. So let's check out this classic. Come Sail Away. One of those songs that's a classic for a reason, right? This song is just absolutely fantastic. I know it's been played to death. Kev's going to allude to that at his ending comments, which I totally 100% get. But it's one of those songs that even if I've heard it a million times, and I haven't, but I've heard it a lot, but not oversaturated for me, it's still got to be on a list of great songs because it's just that good. So much synth on here. You got Dennis doing it and JY. James Young is also playing a synth on here. I love the way the song builds, right? The first 2.5 minutes, it's over 6 minutes long. First 2.5 minutes are just Dennis and just that almost higher register and just kind of draws you in. And then there's just get that tempo change. And then it's basically just chorus after that, right? So just a fantastic song all the way around. It ends out the A side. What a way to end the side out. We're going to kick off the B side with Miss America, where our man JY, James Young, actually wrote it and sings it. As Styx guitarist Tommy Shaw said at a concert, quote, here's a song about the fleeting nature of fame. So you see the theme that we're getting at here on a lot of The Grand Illusion. Miss America, I mentioned was going to kind of like to let Dennis have his synth and keyboards at the start, and then just turned into the most rocking guitar song on here. So it's, whereas you have different writers of the songs, whatever their instrument is, they're going to feature that, obviously. So did enjoy that. JY's vocals are fine. They're not as good as Shaw or DeYoung, but the content of this is absolutely fantastic. And once again, I mean, it's what I went over on the other 2 songs that had this sort of content. You were the apple of the public's eye as you cut the ribbon at the local mall. Mirage for both you and us. How can this be real? The Queen of the United States, if you lost your crown, well, aren't you Miss America? Don't you Miss America? Won't you Miss America? Well, are you really who we think you are? Or does your smile seem to wear you down? Is the girl who you once were screaming to jump out? In a dream that you must live, a disease for which there is no cure, this roller coaster ride around won't stop to let you off. So I just thought that the lyrics were just fantastic, right? Telling you, it goes back to The Grand Illusion. It's a very nice thematic thing throughout this entire album so far. But you don't want to be famous, man, because you're presented as something that you're not. And then there's The Grand Illusion Superstars talked about before. It's like every other song, 1, 3, and 5 so far, have touched on this subject. And Thought this did it very well, and the guitar work was stellar. Now we go to Man in the Wilderness, written by Tommy, sung by Tommy. Tommy wrote it after watching a Kansas performance in Detroit, which they had played as the opening act. He has called it, quote, epic, unlike any presentation of rock music I'd ever experienced. To go that big opened up all kinds of ideas in my mind, and the next time I was alone with my acoustic, the song more or less unfolded itself. The lyrics stem from his experiences of rising to fame with Styx, as well as his brother being sent off to fight in the Vietnam War as a pawn for the strategies of politicians in Washington, D.C. Good thing that doesn't happen now, huh? Man in the Wilderness. Wonderfully written song by Tommy, right? Because he does intersperse, I think, his brother's experience from going to Vietnam with his experience with fame, because they kind of blend together in a way. The guitar work on here was fantastic, man. He talks about another year's passed me by, still I look at myself and cry, what kind of man have I become? All of the years I've spent in search of myself, and I'm still in the dark because I can't seem to find the light alone. So even though he's famous, and then he gets into the first chorus, sometimes like a man in the wilderness, I'm a lonely soldier off to war, sent away to die, never not quite knowing why. Sometimes it makes no sense at all. It makes no sense at all. Verse 2, he's getting to his experience, right? 10,000 people look my way, but they can't see the way that I feel. Nobody even cares to try. I spend my life and sell my soul on the road. I'm still in the dark because I can't seem to find the light alone. And so he just kind of builds on that. That wonderful guitar solo comes in, and the outro at all. Can't find the meaning of it at all. Yeah, can't find the light alone. Oh, so it's really a sad song in a lot of ways. And you hear a lot of people who are famous talk about this, right? Because I've got to be this certain thing. When I'm up on stage as a musician, rocking it out, people love me, people adore me, all these people cheering for me every night. They have no idea how alone I feel. And of all people, I actually saw a song that was brought on one of our live streams by one of our patrons, a song by Justin Bieber, of all people, where he talked about that. Like, no one has any idea. I have all these people who adore me, but how alone I feel. And it kind of makes you figure out that a lot of these stars, man, who are famous, it's a lonely life, man. You can't go anywhere. You can't do anything because you're going to be spotted everywhere. You can't have a normal life. And people kind of pigeonhole you in. And that's what these guys are getting to on this album. They pigeonhole you in to this certain image. And now you're kind of a slave to it, right? Because you're having success. It's all the record company wants from you. It's all the fans want from you. So wonderful song there again by Tommy. Now up to Castle Walls, written and sung by Dennis. Castle Walls, Chuck got his bass showcased a little more in this, and he has in other songs at the start and then partway through. One of the finest examples of musicianship, right? Very proggy on this. Musicianship is just top notch. There is harmonizing on there. Dennis starts out in that higher register. This definitely has some medieval fantasy, surreal stuff. Like at the very end where I thought I heard Tiresias, who Tiresias I'm seeing here was a blind Theban poet or prophet in Greek mythology. So I think this is more about, it's not about the lyrics to this one, it's about the feel and just the way the musicianship and arrangement just work like so wonderfully in this song. Now we're up to the last song. It's less than 2 minutes long. It's called The Grand Finale, and it kind of just blends the themes of the song into just one little short song. I've looked at the lyrics. There's not much to them. Let's finish this thing out. The Grand Finale. I mean, it's a song. It's less than 2 minutes long. It's not really a song compared to a lot of the other epics on this album. And he simply says, you can see how it just bookends all the themes, right? Sail away, superstars. So if you think your life is complete confusion because your neighbor's got it made, just remember, please, it's a grand illusion, and deep inside, we're all the same, we're all the same. So just mixing in some lyrics from some of the other tracks. And speaking of the other tracks, that's a perfect segue for me to get into my favorite tracks. But before I do that, let's see what Kev has to say about this. He's the one that brought this. He's the one that knows it. He said, favorite songs, hard to narrow down. Title track, of course, The Grand Illusion. Miss America, Man in the Wilderness, Fooling Yourself, The Angry Young Man, and the absolutely amazing Castle Walls. And he said, and of course, adding to the list of songs, If I Never Hear Again, I'm All Right With, because they've been played to death, would have to be Come Sail Away. I get that. I totally get that. For me, it's hard, because there's 8 songs, but there's really only 7, because I don't really consider the grand finale. I mean, they were all awfully good, right? Honorable mentions, I guess I'm going to go with Miss America and Castle Walls. I got a lot of faves, man. My faves are going to be Man in the Wilderness, Come Sail Away. I got to do it. That song is absolutely fantastic. Fooling Yourself, The Angry Young Man, and The Grand Illusion. I'm telling you, man, the lyricism and the way these guys really came at fame is just is just fantastic. So now we get to my overall score. Kev says for him, the album still holds a 9.0. That's the first time I've ever heard it, so I'm not going to be quite that high. I'm going to go to 8.25. I mean, this is perfect, right? I get it, the longer albums, and right now, if you're following along on the channel, we're doing album drafts year by year, and Trey and I are drafting our 5 favorite albums from each year. And we're to the 90s, where albums were just absolutely bloated and insane, over an hour long, some 14, 16 songs. Coming back to something like this, it's 8 songs, really 7, fits in a nice 38-minute package. Just perfect, man. Great listen front to back. You can repeat it and really get to know the album, and I probably will with this one. So thanks again to Kev. Thanks to all our patrons who make this thing go. If you guys support us in any way, check out the Patreon link below. Patreon link on the end screen. Until next time, guys, I will see you.